AITA for telling my husband that I would have never agreed to have his child if I knew he would go back on our agreement. I, 36F, am a neurologist and I absolutely love my patients and my job. I believe there is no greater honor in life than being able to help others. The road to my medical degree was not easy, and it was paved with many rejections. I was a troubled teen in high school and I didn't get accepted into any colleges my senior year. I had to work my way up starting with remedial classes at my local community college. When I finally got into medical school at 26, I was absolutely thrilled. I met my husband, 37M, in my third year of medical school. We have been married for 4 years now. My husband works in marketing, and I make 3 times his salary. From the beginning of our relationship, I was very upfront that I was unsure about having biological children. My dream was always to adopt from foster care and my husband seemingly understood this. However, after his best friend had a baby boy last year, he began to really press me on having children. I was initially very against this idea because I was just beginning my career. I wanted to wait a few more years before revisiting the topic of children. In August of last year I found out I was unexpectedly pregnant due to a condom breaking during sex. I was initially considering an abortion, but after many heartfelt conversations with my husband, we decided to keep the baby, and he would quit his job and stay home until our daughter was old enough to start preschool. There were several factors that went into our decision to have him stay home with our daughter. I make significantly more money than him, so financially it just made more sense. I am in the first few years of my career as an attending physician. After 4 years of med school and a 4-year residency, I am just starting to practice on my own, whereas my husband has been in his career for 15 years. I was very clear that I had absolutely zero desire to stay home and be a housewife. I respect stay-at-home mothers, but my work is my life, and I would go crazy at home all day. This just isn't a lifestyle I want whatsoever. Finally, I am not comfortable putting my child in daycare until she is old enough to express herself verbally. As a victim of a molestation when I was young, I just do not trust people enough to leave my daughter in the hands of strangers when she would be unable to report abuse and neglect. Our daughter is 9 weeks old today and I am preparing to return to my practice in a few weeks. This weekend, I left my husband alone with our daughter while I attended a medical conference out of state. The conference was amazing, but when I returned home, my husband began acting weird. Today, when our daughter was napping, I pressed him to tell me what was wrong. He absolutely broke down and said he doesn't think he can do this. He expressed how trapped, alone and overwhelmed he felt all weekend. He now wants me to extend my maternity leave and is talking about trying to get his job back. This made me freak out, and I asked, well, what will we do with our daughter now? He responded by suggesting I leave my practice and work from home. I said absolutely not, and he suggested daycare. At this point I just lost my shit and screamed, if I knew you were going to back out of your promise to take care of our daughter, I would have never had your child. I know I completely overreacted and I would never trade our daughter for anything. I love her so much. But I am so upset with my husband and I'm not sure how to move forward at this point. Additional information from OP to address some health/medical issues. OP, a few people have brought this point up, and I'm just going to address it here. I started hormonal BC at 17 when I lost my virginity. Unfortunately for me, I'm the kind of woman who gets practically every single side effect in the 3-page pamphlet. I tried a bunch of different kinds but I eventually decided it was not for me. I got a copper IUD installed for a few years but I ended up getting it removed early because it gave me severe cramping. I've been using strictly condoms for the past several years now and I have never had a problem. Also, this may be TMI but I never allow my husband to ejaculate into the condom while his penis is inside me. This is for extra safety and peace of mind. Maybe 2x a year he will come too fast or unexpectedly and cannot pull out in time. The night we conceived my daughter, he came unexpectedly into the condom. I didn't think much of it because it happens occasionally, but now I am really rethinking some things. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. How does a neurologist work from home? NTA. He's quite happy for you to feel trapped, overwhelmed and alone. Time for him to grow up. OP. If I transition to a WFH role I would likely have to give up caring for patients as a neurologist. I'd probably end up doing consulting work for a health insurance company. Sounds soul-sucking, I know. Commenter 2. Why in the world would you go to work after 9 weeks? Don't you have a year of paid maternity leave? OP. Not in America. Honestly, you're lucky to get any paid maternity leave in this country. Commenter 3. NTA. But, OP, I would consider the red flags here. He wanted a child and you unexpectedly got pregnant. Now he wants to go back to work and the deal unexpectedly changed. Plus, why did he feel alone and overwhelmed when he stayed home but seems not concerned for you to stay home and surely feel the same? Update 3 months later. To everyone who sent me kind and supportive DMs, thank you very much. I appreciate it more than you know. To those who sent me nasty DMs, criticizing me as a mother, You are part of the reason why 40% of female doctors go part-time or leave medicine altogether within 6 years of completing their residencies. Women can want a career in a family, like men have had for hundreds of years. This does not make us evil monsters. To those who sent me DMs seeking medical advice, I am not comfortable giving medical advice over Reddit, and I sincerely hope that you find the care you need. To those questioning why I was not on birth control, I addressed this more in a separate comment, but hormonal birth control does not work for every woman. Even board-certified OBGYNs will testify to this. After trying my best with every birth control under the sun for nearly 10 years, I decided condoms and pull-out would be enough. Was this a stupid decision? Yes. But 40% of doctors are overweight, so we aren't always the best at taking care of our own health. Regardless, I have no regrets. I love my daughter and would not change a thing. Okay, now for the actual update. A few days after I made my original post, I realized how awful what I said to my husband was. No matter how upset I was, I never should have used our daughter as leverage in an argument. Even if I had to quit my job tomorrow and become a single mom, I would still do it for her because I love her more than anything and I would choose her every time. I still feel awful that I said this. It was truly a terrible thing to say. Another thing I dropped the ball on was not being more patient and accepting with my husband. For some context, my mother came from out of town to stay with us for the first 8 weeks after I gave birth. My husband did contribute greatly. I'd honestly say they both did 50% of the work with the baby for the first week or so while I recovered. After that we split the work between the three of us. So, for him to go from 2 people supporting him to being on his own for a whole weekend in a matter of about 10 days was obviously a huge shock, and I should have realized this. His complaints about feeling trapped, overwhelmed, and alone are the exact reasons why I have no desire to be a song. Yes, we had a deal, but I should have given him space to express his concerns openly without me flipping shit. I stayed with my sisters and our daughter for a few days after the fight to give my husband some space. He would come to visit her every day during this period, but we agreed not to talk yet. When I came home, I apologized to him for mishandling the situation. To my surprise, he actually apologized too. He told me that he never intended to back out of our agreement. He just became so overwhelmed that he was unsure he was capable of caring for our daughter properly. He apologized for giving up so fast and suggested that I WFH. He told me that no matter what we decided to do, I should not leave my practice. At the end of his apologies, he said that he wanted to give being a stay-at-home dad another shot. We then had a very long conversation about how we would handle things from there. He told me that caring for our daughter was not the overwhelming part, it was trying to keep up with the cooking and cleaning that was difficult. So, we decided to hire a maid and buy one of those meal kit delivery services. He joined one of those new parent support groups to help reduce his isolation. 3 times a week, my sister-in-law has agreed to come over to babysit for a few hours so he can go to the gym or have some me time. I also told him that if at any point he feels like he can't be a SAHD anymore, to please tell me. I made it very clear that while I would be slightly disappointed, I would be much more disappointed knowing that he was burnt out and upset while caring for our daughter. Since this, we've also taken steps to strengthen our marriage, going on date nights once a week. I don't yet feel comfortable leaving our daughter with anyone besides family, so most of these date nights include long walks while pushing her in the stroller or Netflix and takeout on the couch, but hey, it's been working. Addressing the whole poking holes in the condom thing. No, I do not think this happened. I honestly did not even bother asking my husband this. I felt that an accusation of this magnitude would be detrimental to our marriage, especially when it was already in such a fragile state. My husband has agreed to get a vasectomy, so we don't have any more happy accidents. He is scheduled for later this year, and we are abstaining from PIV until then. This whole situation has made me realize I needed to go back to therapy, and I have been seeing my therapist for about 6 weeks now. My CSA hadn't impacted my life for about 8 years prior to this, but having my daughter and dealing with postpartum anxiety has stirred up some really dark thoughts. I know that I am being overprotective due to my trauma, and I want to work through this so that I can be a good mother and a good partner. A lot of people told me to leave my husband, and I'm sure a lot of people reading this may think that I'm making a mistake. I know that I am not. My husband had a weak moment and broke down, but he does not have a pattern of being unreliable, dishonest, or unsupportive. He supported me through my final 2 years of med school, and throughout my residency. Please try to remember that my post highlighted the worst moment in our relationship. It did not show the 8 wonderful years we have had together. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, oh dear. This is all very step 40. OP, about a year into my husband and I dating, I was studying for the USMLE Step 2 exam. This is an absolute monster of an exam. 9 hours in 1 day testing you on all your clinical knowledge. Your residency match heavily relies on your Step 2 performance. Obviously, I was beyond stressed. About 6 weeks before my exam, my husband and I had dinner reservations for 8 p.m. I was exhausted and accidentally fell asleep at 6 p.m., standing him up for dinner. At 9 p.m. he knocked on my apartment door to see if I was okay, and I broke down as soon as I opened the door. All the stress and anxiety came flooding out. I was sobbing in his chest telling him that I could not finish medical school. He spent all night comforting me and he continued to be there for me the entire time. He brought me meals twice a day, so that I did not have to cook, did my laundry every week, ran my errands, took care of my cat, and gave me many back massages because I spent so much time hunched over my textbooks. He emotionally supported me the entire time. He never let me lose sight of my dream and did everything he could to help me through my difficult time. This is who my husband is, and now I am returning the favor. I am supporting him however I can as he makes this difficult transition into being a SAHD. Call me a step-forward wife all you want, but it's just not worth it to me to throw away my family over one horrible fight. OP on if she will have any more kids, and if not, any procedures to be done. OP, nope. My husband is getting a vasectomy. Tried copper IUD for a bit, but it gave me horrible periods. I am so sick of family planning being 100% on women. I do not want to deal with the side effects of hormonal birth control for another 10 years when hubby has agreed to a quick outpatient procedure.